Hello, this is Annalisa from Faith's Dream Crate, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be creating two cards for you that will be thank you cards. For the background, I'm going to be creating an alcohol inked background, so I'm using some Yippo paper, and I'm going to be able to get two cards out of this one Yippo paper because it is a little bit bigger. So as you can see, I'm using 3 different colors of alcohol inks, and then the blending solution, and then I'm going to be able to blend these all together to create a fun background. And I love as you start to add in that blending solution and use the blower tool to blow this all around and create a fun effect. You're also going to mix this together and get some new colors. So I'm only using yellow, purple, and pink, but by blending these colors together, I'm also getting some oranges. And it is so fun to see this background come to life, come together, and you can go ahead and use less colors or not do the whole background, maybe just do one color with a swish throughout the middle. I definitely would like to experiment with that, but I always just want to add all the colors and create a fun background across the whole thing. I just love how it looks, and I love how it comes together. So as you watch this process of me creating this alcohol ink background, I just want to say that next week on Tuesday, I am planning to start my fall card series. I have put the fall card series up on my channel since I started it, and it is coming back. I have some cards ready to go. I'm working on editing them, and hopefully I will bring you 2 cards a week in September and October. But I planned for some wiggle room because life gets busy, and I have 4 kiddos, and you know, life happens. So that is that, but definitely come back for the fall card series. And after the fall card series in November, we will dive right into Christmas cards and have some fun with that. But if you are not subscribed yet, definitely subscribe and turn on your notifications. If you are subscribed, turn on your notifications as well too, because then you will know when I upload for the fall card series, and you can come back and get some fall inspiration or some new tips and tricks along the way. And I'd love for you to join me for the fall card series starting next week. I am so excited. I've started to create for it, and I'm really, really excited. So once the background is done, I'm going to create 2 very simple cards. Not a whole lot left to do. The alcohol inked background becomes the focal point, and you really don't need much more because the background is so fun, so vibrant, and so colorful. And I love the dot effect in here. It reminds me of the bokeh look when the lights get captured in a photograph. It's such a fun effect how the alcohol ink just flows together and creates this fun, elegant background. So I'm going to cut down this Yippo paper into 2 panels because it is a little bit bigger and I can do 2 cards in one. So I decided to just add in the Yippo paper directly onto my card base because I really liked how it stood out with the white border. You could definitely go ahead and matte this as well on maybe some black or another color if that was the look you were going for, but I really liked the white and the simplicity of that. So just fixing one of my card bases here, and then we can move on to the next step. So for the stamp set that I'm going to be using for the background, here is the 2 cards. I am using this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. I believe this is called Autumn Thanks. I could not find it on the website, so it's probably discontinued, but you could go ahead and use any sentiment that said thanks, thank you, happy birthday. This card could be created for any occasion with a fun alcohol inked background. Pop any sentiment on this and you are good to go. This also makes for super quick cards. Have fun with the background, add a sentiment on in any way you want, and you have a quick card. So I'm going to be using some vellum to create the sentiment, and I'm using the Simon Hurley stamping block to stamp this onto the vellum. And I'm just using my Memento Tuxedo black ink. If you are quick with Memento Tuxedo black ink, you can get embossing results, and especially on the vellum, it stays pretty wet just because of the material it is, I find. So I don't have a problem with it if I move quickly. I also have the Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink, and that works great too. So I'm using the Simon Says Stamp gold embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat set this on the vellum. I love to add embossing powder onto vellum because it creates a fun effect, and it also really makes that ink stay. I find that when you are stamping on vellum, sometimes it smudges, so this really keeps your ink there and you don't have to worry about smudging or any of that. And the embossing powder looks great on the vellum. So now I'm just cutting out the sentiment closer to so that I can glue this down. Now I was experimenting with the glue. So I love Barely Art glue, and I recently ran out of it, or my nozzles were so plugged up that I was getting frustrated with it. So I was like, I don't want to go ahead and buy a new one because Barely Art glue can be quite expensive. So I decided to pick up some cheap school glue from the dollar store and see if I could make this work with cheaper glue. But it didn't work out the best. So here is the school glue, the Elmer's clear school glue. Now I feel like this would have its benefits, and it did work. You can make it work, but it is a thicker glue, so it does kind of raise it up and make it a little bit bulkier and warp the paper as it dried. It still worked. But yeah, that is what I found. I feel like this would be good for a glossy accent over things if you were careful, depending on the inks you were using. But anyways, now I am using this on the vellum, and this worked pretty good on the vellum because it dries clear. You're not seeing it, though it was hard to get it to adhere. I had to work with it, and then I had to put my acrylic block over it, or I was putting the Sizzix Sidekick plate on here to get it to flatten because it was warping at the edges, as you can see. So this was my experiment, but sometimes the nicer glues, the more expensive glues, are worth it. Just the way they're designed, I do not know, but yes, they just seem to work better. So I was trying everything to get this to flatten. I grabbed out a wooden stamp, as you can see, but it is just warping. The acrylic block did work the best. I did have to go back in and add a little bit more glue here and there. One thing with the Elmer's clear glue, because it is a kids-based glue, I don't know why, but it also did kind of peel up the paper on the white area as well. I didn't have a lot of issues with the glue smudging out and creating any extra shine because you already have that shine from the alcohol ink. And you would never know, looking at these cards, that I used this glue. I feel like you don't even see this glue behind the vellum. Adhering a vellum can be tricky. You can see that the acrylic block and this is like a Sidekick plate did help hold those down, and then I'm just taking a microfiber cloth to get the extra glue off, and you really don't even notice it there on the vellum area and the alcohol inks, but like I said, you did get a little bit of smudging and messing with the paper on the white area. So these are things to keep in mind if you want to experiment with glues. Find the glue that works best for you and gives you the best results. And it's okay to experiment with cheaper glues and different glues, but find out which ones you like and try them out in different seasons. And adding a little bit more and using that acrylic block again. Once the vellum pieces are adhered and I am happy with the glue and getting it off of here, that is going to finish up the card, and I will show you the cards close up. So here they are. Love the shine, love the gold, and as you can see on the one vellum piece, I did go ahead and heat set it a little bit more, and it gave me these little dots on it. So you have to be careful with that, but if you heat set it a little bit too much, you get this fun effect of like a raised dot. So be super, super careful, but experiment with the embossing. So that is all for today's video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and definitely come back again next week as I start my fall card series. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.